What's up, everybody? Welcome to Building Our Power. This is Gabby
and KT.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode. Thanks for checking out our last one entitled No House, No Car, Great Economy, whatever it was called. Remember, if you'd like to hit us up, you can do so at Building Our PWR. You can hit KT up at KT_does_art. You can hit me up at Gabby's Music. Remember, if you would like to support the great work we are doing in our community, you can do so. The link is in the bio. It is summertime. It's warming up. We're trying to continue to fill up the fridges, but the money-wise, as far as donations goes, we don't have enough really to fill it up the way we want. We're still passing out dollars. I think we got maybe 150 left. That we're doing around the community. We also want to put on a big bash this summer, and if you'd like to contribute to that, you can. As I said, link is in the bio. All right, we're finna get into these conversations, these topics. So the first thing we want to talk about is this Maxine Waters clip. We're gonna play it for you real fast. And we're going to comment on it. So just a little bit of backstory. This was a nonprofit event where apparently they put out some misleading marketing that said they were going to provide people with Section 8 housing. And the people got there, of course, droves of people, and there was no Section 8 housing. So in this clip, they are confronting Maxine Waters.
Wilson. Another location where they're taking apps. Is there any more locations than this one?
No, it might have been just so many people out here.
1 minute. I want everybody to go home. And I want
we don't got no home. Okay. That's why we here. Miss Miss Waters, what home we gonna go to?
Yeah. Just a moment.
Just a
moment. Nothing is going to happen here today. Nothing is going to happen anymore today.
What about all these names?
What we're gonna that's what give me.
Well, can you leave
Can you leave? That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. And so I will be downtown with Lassa. I will get the housing authority. That's why they came out here today. I made them come out here. And I'm going to go.
And you need to know why they're failing, because Blanca Jimenez repeated, we gave her several meeting requests for you concerning this in Lassa for years.
And now there's nobody in Washington who works for their people in harder than I do.
I believe you.
I don't want to hear that.
I believe you. So can we finish though? Work with me.
No.
Work with me so we can house people. That's what I'm doing.
I do every day.
What you do every day? I'm filling a damn street.
The money that you got in Washington, D.C. I will continue to work. I will get information.
Oh my God, at that video. You, like, part of you wants to, like, laugh at it because the audacity, like, it's hilarious, but at the same time, it's almost, well, no, it's not almost, it is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting for her to say, y'all just going home. Y'all just go home. What home, lady? People don't have homes to go to. They were misled, and the audacity of Maxine Waters anyway. So, Gabby and I, here's the thing. We went and we did some additional research on Maxine Waters, okay? Because we know about her. We've heard about her. Reclaim My Time. We know what we've seen on Twitter. And apparently, this lady is the House Financial Committee member, or committee chief. So essentially what she does is she's over housing, she's over the banks, she's over funding for urban development, quote unquote. Basically she does all of that, right? And Gabby and I found out something interesting about her husband.
Her husband is a stakeholder and a former director of One United Bank. And she actually was under investigation. That bank also is a major contributor to her campaign. She's also under investigation because in 2008, she arranged meetings between the U.S. Treasury Department officials and One United Bank so that the bank could plead for federal cash. It had been heavily invested in Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, the ones that destroyed the community. And its capital was, quote, all but wiped out after the U.S. government took it over. The bank received $12 million in Troubled Asset Relief Program. She was investigated, but coincidentally, in 2012, they cleared her of all ethics charges. Of course, I mean, why do
Right
you...
before the election, too.
Yeah, so this woman, check this out, guys. She is over... Before I even saw this part, I said, wait, she's over the housing. She's over the rent. She's over the mortgages. She's over the banks. Why ain't that lady doing... If anything, her city, her state, California, her city, should be number one in getting people houses.
It really should.
If nothing else, getting people a place to stay. Shouldn't be no homeless people over there. But then we saw her husband is a director of a bank. Oh, well, it all makes perfect sense. It all makes perfect sense. Why, if you're invested in banks, would you want people to have free housing?
Yes, Gabby, yes. Why?
And for her to say nobody does more for this effing city than mine. Girl, you do a lot of public displays. You do a lot of who and hurrah. You do a lot of sound bites. But ultimately, and yeah, that gets people riled up. That gets people, that gets your name in their heads. That makes them think you doing something because you come to a nonprofit meeting and give out some turkeys every once in a while. But behind closed doors, your interests go directly against anything those working people want. $4 million mansion. You literally are, and you will investigate over this, doing kickbacks with your family members, getting them business deals, putting them in place with people rife with corruption. And do the working people of your city even receive the benefits of said corruption?
Here's the thing, too, that's interesting to me is, like, this information is readily available. We literally found this on Wikipedia, and I had no idea. Like, just based on what they said about Maxine Waters, like, on Twitter, and that has been fed to us, like, they don't tell you the corruption that people do in America. It's all, like Gabby said, behind closed doors, and it's like, it happened, and let's just hurry up and forget about it.
There's no talk of it. And they said, I don't know if this is true, but y'all check it out, that she was threatening the major news networks and telling them not to publish this story in the local networks as well. Which is why you only really see the stories on Fox News, Daily Mail, and all that other stuff.
You're not gonna see
LA Times, I think it was on LA Times. But obviously it's not a made up story because it's a video of it and we just played the video. But that just was so disgusting to me. And that's so how out of touch she is. Like, she act like she down or whatever. You finna tell a group of homeless people to go home. And then something else I was thinking about, okay, maybe you, whatever reason, this government is just so complicated, even though you over everybody, that you can't get money to get these people a place to stay. Okay, you have money. Not only do you have money, you have connects. Not only do you have connects, you have pull within the city. If you call a shot and you want these businesses to rent out their hotels for 2 days for these people, you can get it done.
And here's the thing, she's literally over the bank's finances. She could literally put out loans. Like, even if she was to go, like, the predatory way, she could force these banks to give loans at a higher rate or something like that. But she's not. Like, she's literally doing nothing to help the housing crisis.
Right. But I was saying even just something basic, something like one day.
Yeah.
Just give everybody a hotel stay for one night. Give everybody a box of pizza and then go on about your way and say, well, yes, I'm working on it, yada, yada, yada. See, they don't even want to do that. And they want you to bow. They want you to gargle. They want you to kiss. They want you to whatever.
Ew, not gargle.
And all that stuff. But I just thought that was an interesting story to put out there. Because, we don't hear about stuff like that. But if y'all have any interesting stories about the local, your local Congress people or senators or whatever, some tea on them, send it our way. We will expose them for free.
Yes, we will.
Because that's what we likes to do. All right, so the next thing you want to talk about is this great news coming from New York. The Amazon Labor Union has voted and they have set up the first union in Amazon's history. President Chris Smalls, I'm sure y'all know by now, he was fired in 2020, I think, and he was able to organize along with many, many, many other people and get this done. So we want to give props to them. That is amazing work. Amazon, they said they put like $4 million into this campaign to stop the unions. So they put in work.
Which is like $4 to them.
Yeah. But we were reading this one article, Angelica, it was on Jacobin, whatever the heck it's called. And she was saying, like, I had to work 12 and a half hours and then organize. I had to go off on my off days and go out and talk to people. I had to miss lunch breaks and this, that, and the other. I had to miss being at home with my kid. Like, we all had lots of sleepless nights. So they put in work, and I feel like they should be applauded 100%. We're always for the organizing of the people, especially the fact that this is totally independent and is not backed by any rich-ass capitalists.
So I want to mention that the organizers were actually organizing so that they can get higher wages, longer breaks, paid sick leave, paid time off for any injury on the job, and a few other demands. And I think it's interesting. This is what I'm starting to realize is that these corporations, these major call centers or warehouses, they're paying these people like $18 an hour. And you're thinking, oh gosh, that's awesome, $18 an hour. But they're not paying benefits. They're not giving paid time off. They're not giving sick leave. They're not giving anything outside of that $18. So truly, you're getting paid less than what you would have been paid for before.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's interesting, but also they're in New York and Staten Island, so
that's nothing.
That's nothing.
That's literally nothing. That's like $12 here in the South.
Right.
But hopefully they can get that, because that's the thing. So now they're a union, but it still doesn't mean that they have that thing, but they can start negotiating and start possibly getting those things, so we're rooting for them. Something, though, that I wanted to talk about is this is where it gets... This is where it gets to the nitty-gritty of it. We did like 2 episodes on unions.
Right.
And we talked about how, you get a lot of these politicians on board. Now, I didn't see that many politicians on board for this, but AOC was one of them at one point. A lot of the Soc Dems and stuff like that. And a lot of just regular liberals in general. They feel like this is great. They love this. And reading through the comments, we kind of figured out why they love it so much. So we saw a comment that pretty much said that yes, labor unions are what is needed to build up the middle class. Back in the day, the unions helped build up the middle class, and they were sustaining and this, that, and the third, and now we're getting back to the good old days, pretty much. So what does that tell you? For a lot of people, these labor unions are just a way for them to make their life better. Screw everybody else. Because, as we state every single time, with there being a middle class, there's no middle without a lower or a top. You see what I'm saying? So instead of them saying, this is great for workers everywhere, so maybe we'll have a better quality of life, it's like, no. Now we can get to the middle class. We're not over here with these poors no more. Now we can get a better quality of life than the poors. And I feel like that's how labor unions have been rebranded now.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. And then also, because that is people's main goal, it distracts them. Labor unions are not the end goal. Labor unions aren't even the midway goal. Labor unions is the first step. That should already be a given. But after that, we fighting to get rid of this whole thing.
Correct.
But labor unions have been used as a way to make people just say, remember, that's what happened in the Great Depression. That's why they put out the labor unions and the labor this and this, that, and the third. Because they were fighting against that rising leftist movement that was happening. They were like, well, no, you don't have to worry about that because we're giving you better pay. We're giving you Medicare. We're giving you benefits. We're giving you this. You don't have to worry about the end of capitalism. Capitalism can be good for you.
And then what happened? And then states decided to become right-to-work states. So, it's like, history just constantly repeats itself. Majority of us at this time are super duper poor. This is just like Gabby said, the Great Depression, and it's going to repeat itself. Just watch. It will literally repeat itself. We're telling you now, April 3rd, 2022. So it's you guys just got to realize that the United States has no new tricks, and while this is wonderful and this is great, this is the beginning, and we want people to push past this. We want them to organize, and then we want them to organize outside of Amazon warehouses and make it so that you don't have to go to an Amazon warehouse in order to make a living anymore. So
that's the thing, but that's where the messaging comes in.
Yeah.
Like, you got NPR picking it up. You got CNN picking up. You have everybody except for, like, you know, business owners and the Republicans saying that this is a great thing. But what do we know? If the liberals say that this is a great thing, then there's something behind the scenes that possibly is not finna be what we want it to be. There's something that's not revolutionary in that. There's something that's not going far enough. It should be, what we do should make people uncomfortable. It should make people scared for what they trying to do. They asking too much. They doing too much. And that's the thing. Not knocking them, but just saying in general, they feel like this is it. They feel like this is all we need to do. Unions is all we need to do. Higher Medicare for all is all we need to do. A $15 minimum wage is all we need to do. We don't need to, actually, that stuff is, if we get it, it's good, but that stuff don't matter because we don't want capitalism altogether. We have to figure out how to reframe this stuff for people because it's getting lost in the messaging, and now, I don't know.
Yeah, that the person that we saw the comment on, they did say that that their grandparents and their parents were literally helped by unions, and they're so happy about it, right? And that back in the day, quote unquote, that their family got to live a wonderful life. And just driving it back in, just know that if your family is living a great life in capitalism, somebody else's family is not living a great life.
Yeah, they were like, my grandparents, they came from working class and they became middle class in the 50s and 60s. The 50s and the 60s? Do we not remember what was going on in the 50s and the 60s? My family members were still on the sharecropping on the plantation.
Literally.
So what in the world? That has nothing to do with me. That's the thing. That individualistic capitalist thing, this will be great for me. This will be great for me. I can go to the suburbs. You forget like 50% of the population in the United States that is not going to be able to have unions, aka the South.
There's something that's kind of controversial, but I have literally said this before on Twitter, and like, again, it was kind of controversial, but why is it that you only ever see liberals or like white liberals yelling that, oh, we just need Medicare for all and everybody will be okay? Why do you always see that? It's controversial because it's like, you feel like nobody else is rooting for that, right? But it's literally always white, middle-class liberals or like working-class liberals who are right there at the edge of being rich. But they have to pay too much in their health insurance.
That's the only thing that's holding back.
That's the only thing that's but they always, you will literally always see in their bio, Medicare for all. Now, I'm not saying Medicare for all is bad at all. Obviously, we need health insurance. We've had topics that we've talked about on that. But definitely, that's right. That little thing is what's holding them back because they have to pay their health insurance.
But check this out. Some people need Medicare for all and still can't pay their bills.
Literally.
Some people, if we get Medicare for all tomorrow, they still gonna be struggling. They still gonna be homeless.
That's correct.
That's what we're saying. What we're saying is that's that whole Soc Dem thing. Mm-hmm. We just need Medicare for all. We just need student loan debt. And watch them people. I don't care what race they are, white or black, because that's when we had a whole bunch of black people that said reparations will be cancellations of student loan debt. You know how many black people that go to college, like hardly any of my family members went to college. How in the world is that reparation gonna help close the wealth gap for people in Mississippi? How is that finna help anybody? But that's all these petty bougie. That's the only thing. The student loans is the only thing that's keeping them from becoming capitalists, buying some real estate, and becoming your landlord.
Like that lady that was on Twitter not too long ago who said, "Why would I need $60K for my student loan debt? I've got tons of other loans and blah 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 blah. I don't care about no 60K. 60K would clear me out."
Just to clear me out, yeah.
Like, lady, what are you talking about? Like, you're living at a different level that people, like, if you're living at this level, you have to understand in your brain that there are people that live, like, below your level. Like, do people not think about that?
No, they don't.
I'm rich. I live in this giant house with 10 bedrooms, or I live in this giant house upstairs, downstairs, 10 couches. I have plenty of money, but no one else lives below me.
That's why everything is about middle class. They don't want you to think about the working class. The working class, what they say, that's just to scare the middle class into working harder. And so now I've gotten the code. We've cracked the code of the Soc Dems. The Soc Dems, even in what they're talking about, they say they want Medicare for all. They say they want student loan debt canceled. And then they say they want some of the social programs like in Finland and all this other shit. That is still not finna get folks out of poverty. What are people not understanding? What are people not understanding in a capitalist system, especially in America, this hyper-capitalist system? Folks having Medicare for all, folks not having student loan debt, people having food stamps is not finna get them out of poverty.
What about your car bill? What about your light bill? What about your, like, I could go on a list. Like, even if you were to say, okay, well, I'm never going to have a cell phone. I'm not going to have a car. I'm going to ride a bus. You still need money to do those things.
Yes.
What are you even talking about that those little things are going to help?
That's the thing. So, because it's not for us. It's not marketed to us. And let's talk to all them white, because it's going to be around. Let's talk to all them white people that was pointing their fingers at the black Southerners and saying, you're voting against your best interest. You didn't vote for Bernie Sanders. You didn't vote for whatever.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, young people don't vote. So those were all old boomers who knew Obama and knew Joe Biden. So that was easy money. But Bernie Sanders didn't want to come down here and do no work. So that's on him. Also, secondly, you getting to the people. The stuff, again, that you were pushing for was not stuff that was going to directly benefit the people that was down here.
But here's the thing, too, I'm thinking about. Apparently, like, if you, honest to God, want to look at it, remember, like, last election cycle when Bernie Sanders again ran, but he literally had majority black people that were not on his staff.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have black people on his staff. His wife was being racist to some other organizer. And it just
and a lot of black people came out and was talking about the way they was treated.
Correct.
From that time.
So, but it's just like,
but I'm just talking about just
it's crazy.
And that's what we're dealing with. And there's people who feel like black people they just dumb or something like that, and that's why they don't go on board with this Soc Dem stuff. And it's like, literally, this is a middle class little ideology, because this is not pertaining to our material conditions. If you don't have student loan debt, if you already got Medicaid, what in the world, what else are you saying you gonna give me? What else are you saying you gonna do? A $15 minimum wage. Okay, great. Let's see it happen. Let's see it be done. But people already at Amazon, what we talk about, they're already making $17. It's like,
and they still have to be on food assistance.
Right.
Like, here's the thing too that I'm thinking about is like, whenever you're working poor, like, you are literally already on food assistance. Majority of the people who are working poor are gonna be on food assistance. Or if you're in an area where $15 is like or an area that's like lower income, then $15 is going to put you outside of that food assistance.
Yeah.
So that means that, hey, you're not going to be able to get food assistance, and so now you're dipping into your bill money in order to pay for your food.
People don't care about this. They don't even know.
It doesn't make sense for you to even, it just doesn't make sense.
That's what happens when you don't have poor people. Of course, you ain't gonna have no poor people on your campaign. You don't have black people on your campaign. It is what it is. So ultimately, we said all this to say that we are the only people, not necessarily us, but people who are thinking outside of capitalism and thinking towards communism, anarchism, whatever those isms are already 20 steps ahead, because we realize no Band-Aid is going to fix the filth that America and capitalism has been built on this entire time. There's no amount of governmental programs, there's no amount of food stamps, there's no amount of nothing that is going to make America an equal society, except for the destruction of capitalism and a rebuilding of a new non-racist, ableist, homophobic system. So yeah, so what can we do?
Educate your community. And I'm not talking about put some little tiny libraries and, build a mailbox that's actually a library. No. Literally go out and talk to people. Like the Amazon organizer said, she literally would just go, anytime she has seen a face that she did not know, she would just go talk to them and get their phone number. If you're an extrovert, that should be totally easy for you. Introverted, you definitely have your place as well. You can be in the background helping the organizers keep up with tasks and things like that. Like, everyone has their place in organizing and to educating the people.
Yeah, but mainly the main thing is we got to get the message. I think that's just going to be the main thing. We have to get the message out there now. People want something. They're looking for answers. We have to get it out there for them. And also, again, like we say every episode, if you have funds, you need to be giving it to people. And if you have the resources, you need to be educating and doing things for people. Because that's what we need right now. And that's what worked with the Amazon people. They would do cookouts and stuff at the bus stops. When people would come, they'd talk to them, and people would get on board with it. So, I mean, that's really all we can say. That's the only way that we're going to get somewhere. So, yeah. So read that. I want to link that article. Jackal Band-Aid, some bullshitters, because they put that mutual aid thing that time that person was talking about the Black Panther Party. But besides that, we're going to put that link in the description so you can read at least what that lady was talking about. And maybe you can get some good ideas on organizing for yourself. All right, guys. This has been Building Our Power. This is Gabby.
And KT.
And we're at Building Our PWR, at KT_does art, at Gabby's Music. And we are out.